Hello everyone, my name is Elad, also known as IirionClaus on Through the Ages and on Board Game Geek. This is an introduction for a three-player game I played with AlienJake and Claudius74 during late August 2019. Each one of the turns was published as a separate video as soon as it was done, and this video combines all of them into just one YouTube link. Thank you for watching, and feel free to comment on the format or on the game itself. Hey everyone, my name is Elad, also known as IirionClaus on Board Game Geek, and I decided to record these videos chronicling some of my Through the Ages games. I'm deeply inspired by Japheth or Yefet. Apologies if I'm mispronouncing your name. And the goal is to improve my own gameplay by narrating some of my thinking processes and furthermore provide some entertainment, and hopefully you'll enjoy these videos. My format is going to be a bit different than Japheth's. I'm going to post the turns as I finish doing them. So instead of recording the turns separately and then combining them into one big video, I'm just going to record them as they happen. So we have a three-player game with me, AlienJake, and Claudius74. And the card draw is pretty impressive, to be honest. So in the 1 points, two notable options are Hammurabi and Pyramids, with Alex a close second. And then for AlienJake and Claudius74, they're going to have some fantastic options. Whichever one of these twos I don't take, they're going to be able to pick the other. There's Library, there's Aristotle, and Homer is pretty decent as well. The good news is that Engineering Genius is pretty far away. So I'm doubtful that Claudius74 is going to spend 3 actions to pick them up, which means that given that all of the good options are over here, I think it's quite likely that at least Hammurabi and Library are going to be gone, potentially Aristotle as well. So this means that Engineering Genius is probably going to be there for 2 actions. I find it very unlikely that it's going to be for 1 action. Furthermore, I really think that if I take Pyramids, AlienJake is going to go for Hammurabi. And then if Claudius takes Engineering Genius, that's fine. I'm going to pick up Aristotle. If Claudius picks up Aristotle and one of these things, that's also fine. I'm going to pick up Engineering Genius. And of course, there's Library mixed in as well. So I think I can safely pick Pyramids here. And I might be losing on an Age A leader, which actually is a viable point. Evidently, I need to give up on an Age A leader or an Age A wonder. And I think that given this Engineering Genius, I think I would go with the wonder. So that's the first turn. And let's wait on AlienJake and Claudius74 and see what they do. So AlienJake indeed takes Aristotle, which I think is a pretty solid choice. The alternative was probably Library of Alexandria or Hammurabi and Richland. In fact, I'm a bit confused now about Aristotle because I think this allows Claudius to take Library and Hammurabi, which is a pretty strong opening. So if I were AlienJake, I would probably take Hammurabi and Ridgeland, but Aristotle is a solid choice as well. And for Claudius, yep, Hammurabi and Library, such a strong opening. That's gonna be challenging to deal with early on. Okay, let's see what's the final few cards from AJ. So, what are our options here? So ideally, I would like to take Engineering Genius just because it gives us such a nice leg up on pyramids. And looking at the other yellows available right now, none of these are really very good options. One food from either frugality is not very exciting. Rich land, I probably want to get my mine now. So there's going to be a while before this does anything. And stockpile and patriotism, mostly feelers. With regards to leaders, I'm not a big fan of Moses. Um, he seems to cause more trouble than he's worth. Homer, on the other hand, is a pretty good choice. So maybe that's going to be our turn. Maybe our turn is going to be take out the engineering genius and Homer, build the third mine. And then that's going to give us a pretty strong leg up for later turns. The heavy face from Homer is always nice. The additional ore can become units. We don't need to increase population right now. No one's going to play any events. There are none. And Julius Caesar, pretty situational. So yeah, I think I'm pretty safe with that. And AlienJake, he might take Colossus. Seems unlikely. I think he's going to go for a pretty standard opening with electing and increasing population, building in bronze. He might take Hanging Gardens, not very exciting. Claudius, he's going to have a whole lot of options. He's going to have a nice selection of Age 1 cards to pick from, so we'll see what happens there. Oh wow, so two pretty strong military event. I will need to think quite a bit on whether I want to play any of them on the next turn. Homer is a nice advantage in that regard. And for Age 1 cards for Claudius to choose from, thankfully nothing too groundbreaking. Breakthrough is pretty good, but probably worth the 2 actions it's going to cost him. But neither Frugality nor Theology are that threatening. So let's see what the other 2 players choose to do. Onwards to turn 2. By the way, these guys play super fast. I go away, record videos, come back, and it's the next turn. One note, I turned off the game videos, the game sounds. I listened to the video and it was pretty deafening, so no more sounds. AlienJake does indeed take the Hanging Gardens for 2 actions. I think it's a reasonable choice. Hanging Gardens can have its merits. I'm not sure how well it combines with Aristotle, but let's find out. Picks up Rich Land and Frugality. Now these are 2 really awkward choices in my mind, because he just paid an action for a bronze that he could have just built. So yeah, I'm a bit confused on these 2 choices. Let's see how it turns out for him. For Claudius, he elects Hammurabi, which makes perfect sense. Ooh, an early Genghis. That's fascinating. Thankfully, no amazing cards for him to pick with Hammurabi except for maybe this breakthrough. Increases population, gets a mine, and takes the breakthrough. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's the best card he has available here, and it is a solid choice. It's a good card, but thankfully it's not something like an early swordsman or such like, or monarchy. An early monarchy now could have been painful. And evidently I did not turn on the sound effects, even though I thought I did. So let's try it again. So the question now is, do I want to play any of these events? Both of these are pretty strong military events, and both of them can be impactful, especially so early. I have Homer, which could provide some military benefit, and Claudius has Hammurabi, which could slow him down a bit. Question is, do I need any of these cards? And I already skipped 1 food, so I'm already at corruption. Let's see how our turn could look. So do I want any of these? I don't have any tactics, so I don't know if Genghis Khan is the right option. All of these probably fillers. One thing we might want to consider is reserves, so paying 2 actions for these, but honestly not very convincing. Also, another question is, do I want to push on pyramids and delay my science, which is probably a bad idea. So let's try this. Let's get a population, let's get a library, and then elect Homer. So what does this give us? We're firmly outside of corruption. We have a nice population for any of these events if the other players choose to play any. And we have our science set up. Honestly, nothing exciting is coming, which is actually nice. Hammurabi has a leg up in this regard, so it's nice that he can take the most out of it. And yeah, this seems to be a solid spot. Nothing really much to do here. I think there's a reasonable chance. I think there's a reasonable chance this reserves might come for 2 again. Although these events probably not. Let's see if anyone takes Hammurabi. That's gonna be Genghis Khan. That's gonna be a big tell in their tactics. So let's go ahead and finish the turn. And oh, that's wonderful. This this legion is gonna work well with Homer, and actually leads to a higher prioritization of these warriors. Inhabited territory worthy to look out for Columbus if he shows up. So these are 2 good draws. I'm pretty happy with them. This irrigation as well. I think it could work well with the plan to get 3 warriors here. So it seems like, at least right now, we're starting to see the beginning of a plan on how to continue in age 1, get this irrigation, wrap up these pyramids, so I'm ready for Columbus when he shows up, and work towards this territory and legion. Of course, no plan survives more than 1 or 2 turns in Through the Ages, so let's see what happens next. Let's see what AlienJake and Claudius74 do for their turn 2. So AlienJake plays an event, giving everyone 2 science, and then he's going to use his frugality and rich land to set up a population and a mine, and then get a lab. So he's catching up with the rest of us, getting the infrastructure that he delayed for the favor of picking up yellows, and he's getting another frugality, which I find interesting because he already has 2 population in the pipeline. I guess it's the only age 1 event in here. The urban growth are age A, and it doesn't need theology because of Hanging Gardens. Okay, so that makes sense. I think that I might have elected Aristotle to bank that civ election, but taking frugality doesn't make some sense. Next up is Claudius74, and he seeds an event and opens the development of warfare, which is fantastic. I need that for my legion. He increases population. He does get Genghis Khan, which probably means that one of the 2 cards he has drawn has a tactic in it, or he's just in it for the points. That's also an option. He's starting work on the Library of Alexandria. He takes theology, and he takes urban growth. So that is also a bit interesting. I'm curious why he started working on the library. So he did not use his his Hammurabi ability, and he started working on the library. Even though he didn't have any corruption, and building 1 spot of the library doesn't really help with corruption. The theology, I guess, might make sense. It's a decent happiness solution. I'm just curious on why he didn't invest some more actions on picking some of the more premium cards that were available in the card draw, instead opting for an age A yellow. So moving forward with my turn, I have a warrior waiting, and there's a very strong chance I'm going to use that. It promotes me towards Legion. AlienJake doesn't have a person, so it puts him behind the both of us militarily, and since Claudius has Genghis Han, I suspect that his military might jump soon. So getting that warrior is an easier choice. The question is, do I want to seed an event? And I'm still contemplating the option of getting Columbus down the line, so I'm going to keep this inhabited territory, and either way I don't really have an edge in settling right now. So I could consider seeding raiders or uncertain borders. So of the events that could come up, 3 events could be fantastic. Trade routes, markets, and crafts. Any of these could allow me to finish my pyramids this turn, which could be pretty nice, and definitely something to consider. So 3 out of 8 events are pretty good. Looking at the other events, settlement and agriculture, they'll be nice. Agriculture actually sends me into corruption, so it is going to limit the other options I have this turn if agriculture come up. Settlement will be nice. Settlement will allow me to use the Homer ability, as will agriculture. Without agriculture, I cannot use the Homer free ore this turn. So I would say that settlement and agriculture are nice. Looking at some of the others, religion would be pretty bad. I don't have another person to use here. In fact, only Claudius74 has a free person, a free population, and he also has theology, so that will help him a lot and not help me at all. Politics, I think, again, the main beneficiary from this will be Claudius. He hasn't been drawing much because of Hammurabi. And then civil life. Civil life will actually be pretty bad. I cannot use civil life at all. So if that shows up, both Jake and Hammurabi are getting a free civil action. And equality wanted that. I imagine that Jake is going to get a population, and Claudius, he can research theology. He can build a temple. So again, looking at the events, I would say that 3 of them are really good, 2 of them are mediocre, and the other 3 are pretty bad. So giving these odds, I think I'm going to skip sitting an event. The pyramids can wait. I have other things to do. So I am going to get my warrior. And this turn is going to be entirely about the card row. I don't have corruption. There's no point starting the pyramids. I can't finish them. So it's really about which cards I want to pick. And I think that one very easy choice is getting this irrigation. I do know that I want 3 population on these warriors, and I suspect that I might want to expand my my empire with a new building. So I think that irrigation is a pretty easy choice. It also makes seeding this inhabited territory easier if I don't get Columbus. Question is what to do with the other 2 actions. And one option is Michelangelo. Honestly, I don't really see how he helps me right now. I won't get any more points, and it doesn't seem like I'm going to take any additional wonders. I don't have any iron. There's no wonders showing up. So we can focus on resources. Oh, I don't need happiness. I have Homer covering that. It's probable that both B and C's will be gone by my next turn, but there's another theology in the deck, and there's St. Pete's in the deck. So happiness doesn't seem to be an issue. I can focus on resources. And for resources, from my point of view, the 2 options are either getting the other engineering genius or getting these 2 reserves. And from a math perspective, reserves are 4 stones for 4 actions. Engineering genius is 3 stones for 2 actions, so better economy there. Furthermore, if I do take the reserves, this means that engineering genius is gonna sit here at space 4, and AlienJake, he's pretty limited in actions. He has corruption. He has a lot on his mind. It's quite possible he won't take the engineering genius. Also, it helps him the least because Hanging Gardens costs 2 per step, and that might end up with Claudius, which is a pretty negative eventuality. So I think it makes the most sense to get Engineering Genius, and that's the turn. For the events, I'm going to dump the two strength-based events. I'm going to keep the... so actually, do I want to... Do I want to get this on the board? Probably not. It's quite possible I won't have the person to build a warrior next turn, which is a shame. I'm not using the Homer stones at all, and it's still possible that I get something like hunting band, not hunting band, like fighting band that I might go into. So let's wait with that. Yeah, I'm going to discard Raiders and Uncertain Borders. I'm probably going to get Michelangelo, Da Vinci next turn, but if I don't, it's nice to keep this as an option for Columbus, and I might even seed it because I'm going into irrigation. So that's the turn. Interesting. So I did get a plunder, which is a pretty decent event with one military action. I can see a situation where a food or settlement, agricultural settlement comes up, and I go into a third warrior and then Legion, and the following turn, AlienJake is going to be pretty wide open. He has some options. He might go into Joan of Arc or Knights, but that seems unlikely given the his current infrastructure. Looking at what came up the card draw, Saint Pete is here. I might be able to get it. We'll see what happens with the rest of the row. Three great leaders showing up: Joan of Arc, Frederick Barbarossa, and Da Vinci. So nice options there, and Knights as well, which could be an option as a military tech. Oh, and I completely missed this Monarchy, which also is now available for a pretty cheap price, and I have the science for it. I'm the only one right now that can get it without Revolution, so that might be an option. So let's see what Jake and Claudius do, and until the next turn. Here's the remainder of turn 3. AlienJake seeds an event and reveals development of civil life. That reinforces the decision from last turn not to seed an event. I could not take advantage of civil life. That was really the worst case scenario as far as events go, because that would give Jake and Claudius a free civil action I cannot use. So it's a good thing I don't seed an event. He's going to increase his population, grab printing press, even though he does not have Aristotle, and increase his population again. And finally grab reserves. So quite interesting choices. I think in his place I might have gone for Aristotle and Monarchy, or at least elect Aristotle ahead of printing press. Just one more science, potentially more down the line. At this point it really looks like he's passing on Aristotle. For Claudius, he's not sitting an event. He's grabbing the Monarchy. His science is weak, but he's probably going to finish. Yeah, he's going to finish the library. So he can get that Monarchy going next turn. In 2 turns, although he might need to use his science elsewhere. He's picking up a Knight, and that seems to be about it for Claudius. So pretty straightforward. Now, here's my turn, and oh my gosh, the card draw looks amazing. This is going to be a tricky turn to maneuver. So looking at the card draw, we have 3 strong leaders, and in fact these are the last 3 leaders with the exception of Columbus. So if I don't take any of these leaders, I'm competing with Jake for Columbus. St. Pete's is here, one of the best Age 1 wonders, can really help with, basically between St. Pete's and Homer, I'm pretty much done with happiness for the foreseeable future. For 2 actions, Alchemy, Code of Laws, and Knights, really solid options. And then down the line, almost all of the remaining blue technologies are showing up. So before I decide on a political action, I know that I'm going to get development of civil life, and in my mind, there's 2 options. So let's keep politics for a sec. Option 1 is to raise my population for a 1 food discount. And I think I should still be able to, even if I don't get irrigation, I should be able to get one more population given the current configuration. There's about 3 or 4 more turns until the age is done. I'm going to get 3 food and get the last population, so it's all good. So I could increase population with the event, and I really want to use the ore from Homer right now. So I could get that third warrior and get the Legion to put me at 5. And right now, I think it puts some pressure on AlienJake to beef up its military. Otherwise, he's in range of aggressions. And maybe even Claudius, though honestly I'm not that concerned about Claudius. He has knights, he has Genghis Khan. He's going to be fine. He's really not the target here, but it does put some pressure on AlienJake to dedicate some of these population to military. Otherwise, I could plunder him pretty easily. So the question is, what do I do with all of my civil actions? And I think at this point, ideally, since I don't have corruption, I would like to take advantage of the card row. And I could use Da Vinci and take alchemy, which seems like a pretty solid next step. The challenge there is that my hand is full, so I would need to use one of these cards. I could use Engineering Genius A, and then take alchemy. So that's one direction to take, and no corruption, military is nice, and I'm set up with a pretty strong science engine for the next turn. Another thing I could do here is to finish the pyramids, and I think that one of the common mistakes with pyramids is to finish them too soon. So I think the timing on pyramids is really critical, and I'm wondering whether this is the turn. I could use my engineering geniuses, finish the pyramids, and I have 2 actions left. And the tricky part with this is that I cannot take both a 2 civil action technology like alchemy or knights and a leader. And if I don't take a leader now, looking at Jake, I don't think he's going to take a leader. He's pressured for military, and he has all these meeples sitting here, so neither Barbarossa nor Joan of Arc help him. So I don't think Jake is going to take a leader either, which means the 2 of us are competing for Columbus. Not an ideal situation, given that I need to replace Homer so that he becomes a happy face on the pyramids. So I could skip alchemy and take one of the leaders. And given my board state and the inhabited territory, I'm wondering whether Barbarossa might be a good choice. And then I think it's highly likely that Claudius might get the alchemy, which means that there's 1 alchemy left in the deck and no other science technologies. Not an ideal way to go into the next age, but it could work. I could take Barbarossa and irrigation. I could take rich land, and next turn take care of this. Put myself in a nice spot for building my military further, for taking care of territories. So there is potential here. It's a bit weak on the science, but there's other elements. So taking a step back, another thing I could do is use the development of civil life for irrigation. And the advantage here is that it really opens up my hand, and I can take alchemy and Da Vinci. And I still can't research alchemy. I mean, I could research alchemy, but I can't upgrade. And for my last action, I could use one of the engineering geniuses to work on pyramids, for example. The challenge here, of course, is that I have corruption and really no outlet to get rid of it. So I'm not really sure whether this path is ideal and whether it's worth opening my hand and putting irrigation, which I haven't upgraded yet, and upgrading it doesn't really help me with corruption. So that seems like a pretty weak option. So So I really think that the way to continue here is to raise my population, get this legend going with the stone from Homer, putting some pressure on Jake. And now, again, I could either finish the pyramids and go for Barbarossa and Rich Land, or I could just play one engineering genius and get alchemy and Da Vinci. And I think that the main factor deciding between these two paths is whether I want to play an event. So let's see if I want to play, if I want to seed my inhabited territory this turn. And there is a good path with Barbarossa, which prepares me for a pretty strong military in the next few turns, including taking care of territories. But what can I gain right now? And looking at the events, I actually don't think I want to trigger any of them. In this case, it's a pretty straightforward choice. I don't want any resources, so these 4 events go down. Each of them gives me 2 resources, which I can't really use right now. I guess that agriculture or trade routes will give me a 3rd food to increase population, but I'm pretty tense on civil elections right now. Religion, I don't have a person for it. Politics, I think it's going to help the others more than it helps me. Although I'm not going to draw this turn, so maybe it could help me a bit more than I think right now. And settlement, I don't think settlement helps me that much. We saw from the math that without irrigation, I'm going to get 3 food for that less population. So getting it from an event right now, I don't really see that helping me that much. So yeah, I think I'm going to skip politics. I'm going to get my population and put the pressure on AlienJake and go for alchemy and Da Vinci. And this also sets me up for an interesting next turn where I'm pretty sure that that next turn I'm going to finish the pyramids and get Da Vinci and alchemy going. So that's going to be 2 actions. I'm going to have 3 actions left. This is going to be, and this is going to be 3 actions. So I could go for alchemy upgrade Da Vinci, or I could grab some stuff from the card draw. And we'll see which way that goes exactly. It really depends on what ends up in the low counts, and it also depends whether something like swordsman shows up, which is pretty critical at this point. So that is the turn for now. And yeah, I don't really think this territory is going to happen right now. I'm not going to get cartography. I'm not going to have an edge with regards to territories. Question is, am I going to seed an event next turn? Honestly, I think very similar arguments to this turn are going to be relevant, so I don't think I'm going to seed an event. I think I can safely discard the inhabited territory. I'm not going to draw any military cards. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy that no swordsman showed up, because that's a high priority technology for me. It looks like Code of Laws might be available for 1 action. That's very tempting. The knights are definitely gone, and it looks like iron might be available for 2 turns. If I replace Homer with Da Vinci, I might be able to grab Taj Mahal for no actions. And here's another monarchy, which could also be interesting. I can immediately research it. So between monarchy and pyramids, I will be pretty much set up for H2 as far as actions are concerned. So let's see what AlienJake and Claudius74 do. AlienJake finishes his Hanging Gardens, and I have to admit I'm a bit confused by the timing on this, given that he could have used these stones to build up his military, and he doesn't really need the happy faces right now. He has the yellows, he has the population he needs, and there's no events coming. He then picks up knight as his last move. So to me, it would have made much more sense to get the knight, research them, and build one. But I guess he wanted to get rid of the Hanging Gardens. And looking at Claudius's turn. Oh wow, so Claudius offers an open borders agreement to AlienJake. And that's actually perfect for both of them. giving them the third action they need, and hopefully AlienJake is going to use this opportunity to shore up his defenses, because right now he's 4 versus 1 on Claudius. And Claudius revolts into a monarchy, and using some Hammurabi shenanigans to elect Genghis Khan and built a temple. So he's not getting a tactic here, interesting enough. So he's only using Han for the points at the moment, which is actually pretty nice, because yeah, so we got 3 points from Han. um, I'm I'm pretty confident that AlienJake is gonna shore up his defenses now. So Claudius is gonna have to work a bit to get more points off Han. He did pick up the knights, so I imagine that he might have a tactic. Although knights is generally a good technology to have. So going into my turn, my original plan was to plunder AlienJake, and to be honest, I'm not that happy with this plan anymore for 2 reasons. One, I'm already pretty deep into corruption, so I'm not sure I'll be able to get rid of the resources quickly enough. I don't have irrigation up, and iron is a bit far away. And two, plundering Jake now, if it succeeds, so he needs a defense card to defend. Oh yeah, and he has 3 actions now. So initially he needed 2 defense cards, but now 1 defense card and 2 cards will be enough to defend. And so it's quite likely he defends, and either way, whether it succeeds or fails, it opens him up to a later attack by Claudius. So I don't need the stones. I don't really think that I should go for the plunder route right now. So I can't pick anything. My hand is full. I could use Engineering Genius to finish the pyramids, but I think I might actually have a better idea, where I'm going to finish the Engineering Genius. I'm going to finish the pyramids, and that opens up a slot in my hand, and I can pick up this monarchy, which actually shores up both of my civil actions and military actions. And I have 1 action left. I'm not really sure I want to pick any of these blue technologies. By the way, I could have taken Code of Laws over Monarchy, but I think at this point paying 2 more science for the military action and the government is probably the better move. 2 science and an action. So I think what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna change Homer for Da Vinci, and I'm gonna pick up Taj Mahal for no actions. Next turn I'm gonna have 7 stones, and that's 10 with Engineering Genius. So I can finish up the Taj Mahal, and I'm gonna have 2 stones left, which means I can research alchemy, upgrade it, and I'll have 1 action left. The challenge here is that Swordsman hasn't shown up yet, and both cavalry are gone. Both knights are gone. So Swordsman is going to show up sooner rather than later. And based on this plan, 3 actions for the Wonder, 2 actions to upgrade the alchemy. I probably won't be able to pick them up, but if necessary, I can always postpone the Wonder plan by 1 turn. So it looks like the 2 critical technologies I'm going to miss here are iron, since both of them showed up next to each other, and highly unlikely I'm going to get one of them. And likewise, Swordsman is probably going to slip away, or I'm going to have to compete with it with AlienJake and Claudius. So let's finish the turn and let's see what happens with the card draw. Oh wow, more aggressions, and here's the Swordsman. So that's actually fantastic. Both of them. So AlienJake is in 1 action, and looks like he's going to remain in 1 action into H2. Both monarchies and both codes of laws are gone. Claudius is doing really well. It really depends on how AlienJake sets up his military moving forward. And for me, I think that yeah, if nobody picks up the swordsman, it's quite possible I will get it for one action. I doubt AlienJake will get it for three. Claudius might get it for two though. He has the science. He's set up pretty nicely, so he might go for the swordsman. So Jake sees a third event revealing development of religion, which I imagine he's going to use, given that he has three population. Beyond that, oh, he's finally developing the knights, gaining some rocks, and building the knights and the phalanx and the warriors, and getting phalanx, which was to be expected given these two units. And for his last two actions, he's going to get the irrigation. And finally, the military development that I expected from him. And now I'm wondering, in retrospect, whether I should have plundered him just to slow that down. Given that one of his cards was a tactic, the other was an event. I'm doubtful these two are defense cards, but who knows? Hindsight is 2020. Claudius is next, and I'm imagining he's gonna match up the military development. Not sitting an event, he increases population, gets the knights, builds the knights, and get heavy cavalry. Oh wow, that serves him very well with Genghis Han. And beyond that, he's getting the alchemy, and he's getting the swordsman. So next turn, he will be able to develop one of these, but not the other. So AlienJake has played this whole game without a leader so far, which I find quite interesting. And looking at the overall statistics, I thought I'm doing quite well, and now when I look at the numbers, I'm much less excited. So overall, looking at this side of the board, we're practically equivalent to each other, except that AlienJake got one more population out than the two of us, and so he's going to be one population ahead. He has the happiness, and I am slightly ahead in civil actions, especially over Jake, and one civil action ahead of Claudius74. So my original plan for this turn was, I can't get the temple unfortunately, was to finish the Taj Mahal, get the alchemy, upgrade the alchemy, and for my last unit with one action, grab one of these cards, which is going to be honestly either one of these three looks pretty interesting right now. Urban growth gives me a significant discount on this second alchemy. Breakthrough science is always nice, and a one action breakthrough is generally a good choice. I wouldn't be surprised if Jake takes it if I don't. And iron, none of us is ahead in rocks right now, so I think this is one place where I could gain advantage. And I imagine that Jake's next turn, he will go either for irrigation or the sprinting press. I would get sprinting press. Yep, he's fine with population for now. He's gonna get one more yellow out of the bank, and he needs the science. And for Claudius, I imagine he's gonna catch up on the science gap as well. So, yeah, getting these 3 points from the Taj Mahal is nice. Getting this out 2 or 3 turns earlier, it's 6 to 9 points. So it's interesting. With that said, given that I'm not as far ahead as I thought, and that civil elections is my main advantage right now, is this really how I want to spend it? And the answer is probably not. So let's keep the Taj Mahal from now. It's going to have to wait for another day. Instead, I am going to get the alchemy and upgrade, which puts me in a nice position with regards to science. And I'm going to look at the card draw and see which of these cards I want. So, given that this has been a science poor game, I think that the breakthrough is an easy choice. And then the question is, do I want to go into iron sooner rather than later? And I could see two options. If I don't go for iron, then I should use my actions to get more more events that give stones. So rich land for the irrigation, that's going to happen next turn, and urban growth for the next alchemy. The other option is to take the iron, and if I take the iron, then I'm pretty sure rich land is the way to go. Um, Although in this case I cannot research the iron next turn, so maybe instead I should upgrade my alchemy so that next turn I can research iron and upgrade. And then in this case I will I take the urban growth or the drama? So I'm getting the iron for net 3, which means the following turn I'll have 7. So I could take the drama and go for the drama the following turn. I'll have one population to put there, and that will help me with my happy faces a bit and generate some points. Because in this configuration, I don't really need an urban growth right now. So I think the question is, do I want iron and the drama or the urban growth, or alternatively skip the iron, go straight for coal, and pick up the rich land for the irrigation and the urban growth. And honestly, it's a pretty tricky decision right now. Age 1 is ending, so going into iron now, it's a bit tricky. With that said, this is a science poor and resource poor game, so I might be able to pull it off. I don't think either of these guys is in a strong position to skip to coal. So going to iron now might work out. So one question I haven't answered that might decide this one way or the other is whether I want to seed cultural influence. And initially, I was hoping to go for the Taj Mahal, in which case the cultural influence gives me 1 point for seeding and 1 more for the Taj Mahal, at least given the current state of the board. However, since I don't have any culture production, at least for now, cultural influence is a net loss of 1 point against AlienJake and Claudius. However, thinking of a few other considerations. One, I haven't seeded any events, and I have no idea what's waiting here. Jake seeded 3 of them, and he was pretty aggressive with seeding the events, even in the face of potential corruption. So it's really difficult for me to assess what he could have seeded. For Claudius, I probably should be able to estimate what's going on. I doubt it's a colony. It could be something strength related. He did have Genghis Khan, so seeding an event is going to give me some control of the deck. At least I'll know that one thing is safe. With that said, it's going to push all of these a turn sooner, so if there are military-based events there, I will be in trouble. So a bit of a pro and con here. With that said, I think that if resources do show up, then I can use them, and I'm not sure the same is completely true for Jake and Claudius. Claudius probably, yes. Jake, he's facing corruption, so I'm not sure. I think I will go with the event and see what comes up. Okay, so we have 2 more stones to play with, and I do not want the temple. Oh man, I wish I had 1 more science to go for iron right now. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So we're going to get the alchemy and upgrade. I put myself in trouble. Now I have corruption. Poor planning on my end. So I really don't want to deal with this corruption, unfortunately. So I'm going to build 1 Stage of the Wonder. I am going to pick the breakthrough, and I am going to take the iron. And next turn, hopefully I can go into iron. And I hope that's going to give me the advantage I need going into H2. So a bit of a mistake with the decision to seed an event, and in retrospect, looking at the deck, it's the same argument I had last turn. 4 of these cards provide resources which I actually cannot use, so it was a 2 out of 3 chance. With that said, if it was development, I really want to push it before H2, because right now Jake and Claudius are much more are better set up to take advantage of an H2 tactic, which I'm not. So there was a risk there. I don't think it's a significant problem. Um, it might end up being the right decision after all. So let's see what happens next. So I need to discard one of these. I think at this point I'm going to value enslave higher than plunder, so in the off chance I'm going for aggressions, this is probably the way to go. And that's going to be the end of age 1. And here's the last swordsman. The first event, the first card from age 2 is Opera. And I got 2 tactics and rats. Interesting. So I'll need to think about these rats for the next turn, although with irrigation I'm not sure it's going to be the way to go. So right now the plan for next turn is to get the iron. However, these things often do not work out as expected. So let's see what happens. So Jake develops irrigation, upgrades it, grabs urban growth, and upgrades again. It looks like his food situation is going to go well. Moving forward to Claudius. He seeds an event and reveals the cultural influence which I seeded, which is actually pretty disappointing. I would hope that I could keep that for a while longer, maybe get some culture generation myself, and also that that something that provides me some more information shows up, but that did not happen. As expected, he upgrades his lab into an alchemy, so now he has 3 science generation, gets urban growth, rich land, and masonry. Interesting. So it looks like he's gambling on, he's hedging his bets. If coal comes up, he can rich land into it, and otherwise, combination of masonry and urban growth should allow him to get some buildings. With that said, he doesn't really have much of the technology to do that. So 3 science is nice, but not really much he can do with this science next turn. I guess he could, and he can't even increase population for another lab, because he doesn't have the food for that. He's gonna have to wait another turn, so I'm not really sure what he's gonna do with his next turn. So for me, let's keep the political action for a minute. And one thing that I pretty much have to get here is swordsman. I'm really thankful that I can get it for 1 action. I didn't expect Jake to get it for 3, so that's good. It does give me some hope, and if push comes to shove, then I can get the swordsman and upgrade them. And now my military is on par with the other 2 players. I don't know if that's what I want to do, but it is definitely an option. And so definitely taking swordsman. That's one thing. What else do I want from the card row? I think that looking at this side, Theocracy, Universitas, not really relevant. Warfare, maybe. I think at this point, waiting for strategy makes more sense. Strategy is just so much stronger than warfare. I could think about some of the happiness-producing buildings, so drama, opera, or organized religion. Any of these might be interesting. I only have 1 happy face right now, thanks to Homer. I definitely need more, and I'm wondering if drama is one way to do it. Although organized religion is very tempting, it's both cheap to research, and it's probably going to keep one of these is probably going to keep me for the rest of the game. Looking at the rest of the row, probably not the time for Newton yet. Maybe if he's a bit cheaper. It's possible that Claudius goes for Newton, but I think there's a good chance I could get him for 1 action if I so choose. Efficient upgrade, probably not worth 3 actions. Cannon though, cannon could be interesting, and the reason is that I don't have much of a military technology. I don't have knights. The challenging part about cannon is that looking at the available tactics, there are 6 tactics available in H2. 4 of them include cannons, but 2 of them include cavalry as well, knights as well. So cannons could be a nice option forward, but Since I don't have the knights, I'm not sure it's going to help that much, and it is quite possible one of the other players is going to leave it behind. Jake is going to see it for 2 actions, and Claudius have I don't think he can dedicate the science for it right now. So I think I could wait with cannon, at least draw some more H2 cards, and also there's another cannons in the deck. So I think I can wait on cannons. So the question is which one of these happiness solutions I want to get, and I think I'm most tempted by organized religion. It's cheaper than opera, and getting the 3 happy faces will be really beneficial for the rest of the game. So if we do that, then the rest of our turn is probably getting the iron and starting on that. And then yeah, I think I can just upgrade iron again and sit at five resource production, which will be pretty nice as far as the tally is concerned. My science is ahead, my actions are ahead, and my resource production is going to be ahead as well. Another option is to create a population, but first of all, it's going to be an unhappy pop, so I can't really use it for anything right now. I can't build a warrior with it, for example. And two, it is possible that one of these cards is rebellion, and losing 2 actions right now. I have this sense that actions is the biggest advantage I have right now, and I would not want to squander it. So I think that going with a second iron is the way to go. And this seems like a reasonable way to spend my turn, get rid of corruption. Going back to the beginning of the turn, um, do I want to see these rats? And right now, it's gonna be a while before it shows up. I'm not really going into food yet. Jake does, Claudius might, and I think that knowing that rats is in the deck could be beneficial. Looking at the kind of events that could show up, I think that both Pestilence and Reign of Terror could be very painful at the moment. Border conflict, less so. I could pop one of the mines because I'm upgrading the iron anyway. But still, I would prefer to avoid them. The other strength-based events, probably not a big deal. Giving the other two 3 resources, not ideal, but not a disaster. And looking at the territories, am I ready for a territory right now? So if a territory shows up, depends on the territory, but I think I can safely put a warrior and a defense card on it. So I'm gonna bid 2. I don't think that Claudius can safely bid right now. Even if he bids 1 with a warrior, his strength is gonna fall to 3. And because of the open borders agreement, AlienJake could attack him with 9 versus 3. He does have 3 H2 cards, so he might be able to defend with 9 versus 3, but doesn't seem safe. AlienJake might bid on it, and if I bid 2, he will need to bid at least 3. So either an H1 defense card with a knight or an H2 defense card with a warrior. He can bounce back from a colony super easily. He has the food, he has the ore. So that's a tough choice. And actually, even if I lose a pop right now, it wouldn't be the end of the world, right? Because I can build it back and then, yeah, and then take these, get the iron, and still upgrade one of the iron. And I won't have corruption. So question is what is in there. I would love to get some control back over the deck. So okay, so I'm gonna take a bit of a gamble, I think. Hmm. You know what? I'm gonna wait. I don't think it. I don't think putting this helps me right now. I can always put it in 2 turns where I have more military. So and it's only 1 point. It's only an H1 event. So let's wait with it and stick to the plan I had before. Getting these, break through the iron, and upgrade. And I think this really is a nice improvement to my infrastructure. So end of turn, what do we discard? Highly likely that heavy cavalry is happening. I really don't think I need two enslaves. And do I keep the phalanx? I think someone has phalanx, right? Okay, so I can safely discard the phalanx. In the worst case, I can adopt it. Let's see what we draw. So here's one of these cannon technologies, which I cannot realistically use, unfortunately. Refugees is interesting way to gain 2 points. I don't know if I'm ready to put a territory in the deck. And looking at the new cards that came up here, here's a cavalryman that could be immensely helpful. Here's a Republic and Consmons that AlienJake might want, although his science is pretty low. 2 architectures, yeah, so I think there's some interesting pickings down the line, and I might end up getting that efficient upgrade if it gets low enough. Jake takes Constitutional Monarchy for 2 actions, even though he's pretty far from it, unless he revolts next turn. Increases population and takes Drama. Interesting, so he has Drama and Printing Press. He might go for Shakespeare, and Shakespeare could massage both his science problem and his rocks problem pretty well. Let him build some infrastructure with Printing Press, get some points, and he does have the irrigation for the population. It does mean his military suffers though. So let's see which direction he takes there. Claudius sees an event, is barbarians. Okay, so nothing happens, that's good. He grabs journalism, which he could conceivably build next turn, assuming he gets the population, and he's gonna have population. Upgrades swordsmen and transitions to conquistadors. So it seems like a lot, but at the end of the day, this only got him 3 additional military, which I guess it pressures me to get some more military, but doesn't seem like a lot for 3 military actions, especially given that once Genghis Khan goes away, he loses it. So I'm really curious on why he did that. Upgrades a temple in preparation for next turn's population. That actually not. He's good on happiness. Okay, and grabs a efficient upgrade. I'm a bit confused about the temple upgrade because I think that he could have grabbed the cannon instead, but sure. How's the points leads going? So right now, Claudius is 25 points ahead. That's fine. That's completely nothing to worry about yet. So let's keep politics for a minute. This is really, I have a lot of interesting options here. And I think that the one constant is that I want cavalrymen and cannon. I have science, I have reasonable stone production. I want to keep my options open. I have mobile artillery, which can benefit from both of these. So just getting these 3 on the table is 11 military, which is not bad at all. So I'm getting these 2. That's pretty much a constant. I could try to research and build them, but the problem is that I'm having happiness issues. So if I do that, I will need to disassemble a mine. And right now I'm pretty keen on pushing my advantages, or is one of them. So I'd rather not go back down to 4. An easy solution is to just get swordsmen and then upgrade and decide how many upgrades I want. So 2 upgrades means that I'm safe from an aggression by Claudius. However, he did play an event, so I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again. He has a bunch of cards, and so does Jake. So I'm wondering whether I actually want to push this up to 8, so that at least I'm safe. I'm safe in Jake's turn. And if he elects to build another unit, so be it. And then with the remaining 3 actions, I'm pretty sure that I'll get away with nationalism. That's going to work well with these new units, and maybe get the 3rd mine and complete that. So that's one way to take it. Another way is very similar conclusion, but so get the cavalryman, get the cannon, build the swordsman, and then upgrade them and finish the wonder. And there's always this temptation of getting the wonder done because every turn that passes, it's 3 points I'm not getting. And I'm wondering if this is the tipping point where I finally finish the wonder. There isn't another wonder to take right now, and while there are pretty strong H2 wonders I might want to take, there is no urgency. And there's a while left until H2, so I think that finishing the wonder is not a priority. Another direction is to get Isaac Newton, and that trades the ore bonus from Da Vinci with actions. And actions are pretty nice. I can get quite a lot done. It means that I only upgrade these twice, let's say, if I want to upgrade the ore, or I can upgrade these 3 times, get irrigation, upgrade the irrigation, and still get all these goodies. And this is quite tempting, except that I'm still hurting on happiness. So having the population is not going to help me if I can't get that happiness, and I won't be able to do it next turn. I could replace the wave of nationalism with reserves, but that seems like a lot of work to get an organized religion out there. Um, and also another thing I'm concerned about, taking Newton means that I'm no longer um, in the race to get Napoleon. And I just picked up 2 additional military technologies, 2 additional units. So I could be in a really prime spot to move into Newton, into Napoleon. And besides, if I don't take it, then these guys have much more flexibility on how they manage their leaders and how much they are willing to wait with Napoleon. Though I think it's highly likely that either one of them snags it as soon as it shows up. So I'm not comfortable giving up on Napoleon yet. Unfortunately, the other leaders are not that exciting, other than Newton and Napoleon. Bach doesn't really seem like an option right now, especially with one Opera gone. Cook, I'm not really sure what's the colony situation. I guess Robespierre could be a nice entry into H3, and Shakespeare likewise. I'm not really having much to do with it. So it's a decision if I want to take Newton now or gamble on Napoleon. And I really think that I'd prefer to keep the rock bonus from Da Vinci and stay in the race for Napoleon. So I am gonna research the swordsman, grab these cards, upgrade the swordsman, and get this final ore. And yeah, I think that my ore is done, my science is done, my actions are done. I have a lot of flexibility in how to move forward, and I'm going to have a nice selection of cards here. There are several excellent yellows we haven't seen yet. The deck still has urban growth and another reserves, a rich land that could work with irrigation, and the breakthrough is here, so I might be able to get it. Though that seems unlikely because it's going to drop all the way to position 5. So I'm pretty happy with the current state of affairs. What do I discard? Am I going to get that navigation? I might. I might. At this point, I'm feeling pretty confident with ditching the enslave. Which cards do I want to keep? I want to keep the tactic, the defense card. I want to keep the tactic. So I can only keep one of these events. And out of these 3, I think refugees is probably the most interesting. It gives me 2 points, and I think I have a good case for being one of the stronger civilizations. So let's discard these and see if Napoleon shows up, since we're drawing 5 new cards. No Napoleon. Interesting, and no events. Oh gosh, that's gonna complicate my next turn. But yeah, what am I gonna do with my next turn? I guess keep working on some of this infrastructure. Finish the wonder. Yeah, finish the wonder finally. Highly unlikely I get one of these yellows, but if I do, for sure I'll take it. So I might be able to finish the wonder and grab a 3-cost yellow or Napoleon if he shows up. Jake cancels the open borders agreement probably a good idea. It looks like Claudius is ahead in military, so it makes sense that he cancels that. Um, and then immediately revolts to constitutional monarchy. So he really doesn't need that military action anymore, and he doesn't want Claudius74 to have it. He is missing on the card row quite a bit, um, but sometimes you do what you got to do, right? He's gonna suffer from corruption. He's missing on some good options here, coal, reserves, breakthrough. But he really needs to shore up his civil actions. So I think that moves make sense. Oh, he's building a knight, so he's breaking the lead. At least he's back ahead of me. Oh, Claudius setting an event. Wow, good harvest. That is actually fantastic. I think that means I can get 2 population now. And what is he doing with his actions? He increases population, builds another lab, so he's at 5 science now. And getting Robespierre. Interesting. 3 actions for Robespierre. He's on monarchy right now. He's not gonna get constitutional monarchy, so he's getting this Robespierre for either a republic or an age 3. No, republic is gone as well. So he's not gonna use this Robespierre for an age 2 government, and he's already in monarchy. So I guess he's picking it up in the event he sees an early age 3 government. That could work. It does mean that he's out of the race for Napoleon, which is nice. And yeah, and that right now Napoleon is pretty much the only leader I care about from age 2. I imagine that if I don't get Napoleon, I might just give up on an age 2 leader and stick with Da Vinci until he's gone. Maybe Bach and Oprah if it really works out, but otherwise doesn't seem like it. So, what a fantastic chain of events. Getting these 2 food is amazing. This means I can get 2 population if I so choose. And it also helps with some of the corruption I was facing. This is phenomenal. So that's it. I don't have any corruption. Unfortunately, I cannot collect any cards from the row now since my hand is full. And now the question is, how do I want to use these cards? So one way, I'm pretty sure I want to get cavalrymen and I want to get my military up. So one way would be to use my stones for the cavalrymen and then advance the wonder, um, which is nice, and at this point I'm pretty confident I will get it next turn. Another option is I could try to finish the wonder this turn, and for that I am still going to get cavalrymen. I'm going to use this, and if I'm building the last stage, then yeah, then I'm going to have to use Wave of Nationalism to get here. And that's all my actions. Not ideal. Not ideal at all. So let's see how else we can do this. Let's say we skip the cavalrymen. We finish the wonder. And we just get an infantry. So that puts us ahead of AlienJake, which is what we're looking for here. And we can still pick the 2 cards. No, we can only pick 1 card. And also, I don't want to put more population into swordsmen, so none of these are ideal. To me, this means that I should wait 1 more turn with the wonder. This point lead is getting a bit troublesome. So right now he's going to be at 35. It's going to be a 34-point lead. But there's still about half of H2 and all of H3 to catch that up. And I think my infrastructure is going to be significantly stronger than Claudius. So I think that I think I can wait 1 more turn with these 3 points. So I am going to get my population, and I am going to get my cavalrymen. And this leaves me with 2 actions. Thankfully, none of these are really interesting right now. Over here, I guess Rifleman and Justice System are both relevant. I don't have any blue technologies. Justice system is a nice way to get in action, though pretty expensive right now, to be honest. I imagine I would want to transition into an H3 government sooner rather than later, so this 7 science is better spent elsewhere. Passing the rifleman onward, I think I'm going to transition to mobile army anyway, at least given the current state of affairs. So the question is which of these 5 I want. Not Consmons, probably not navigation. I haven't seen any colonies. No one is moving towards ship technology. And I have the alchemy, so scientific method. So let's just get the yellows. I think honestly that was my my first choice was the yellows, but I was slowing down to see if there's anything else I want. So the last decision, if whether I want to spend 2 more actions to switch to phalanx, and that's gonna put me ahead on military, which is pretty nice. Although looking at the events that are left, the only event that cares about this is border conflict, because we know that uncertain borders is gone. Oh, and crusades. So 2 events care whether I'm first or second, and I think that 2 actions for this probably not worth it. I'd rather draw more cards. So that seems to be the turn. Getting the population, which is wonderful. I think I can skip irrigation now, wait for mechanized agriculture. Advancing the Taj Mahal a bit, shoring up my military, and grabbing some cards. And next turn, I'm like almost sure I'm gonna finish this Taj Mahal. Yeah, I'm not gonna copy a tactic. And also I want to advance the card draw slowly. I'm so ahead in infrastructure, I think it's my best interest. So we got civil unrest, and we got a war, which is nice. War on technology is always nice. I don't think I'm in a position to use it yet, though if strategy shows up or if I grab Napoleon, that's gonna change. So let's keep that in mind. Next turn I can finish up the Taj Mahal. Next turn I can make a nice leap in military if I so choose. I can get this organized religion going to free this person. So lots of good options. I'm pretty excited. Let's see what happens. So Jake develops printing press and increases population and builds a library, picks up the rifleman and scientific method. 2 strong technologies. He's a bit behind on science, so we need to wait a while before either one of these is operational. Interesting, and he adopts classic army. This is a really interesting choice. It only gives him 1 military, and it opens up classic army for both Claudius and me on our next turns. So, well, Claudius, scientific cooperation rejected. Oh, thanks. I'm really happy that did not work out, since I do not want Jake to fix his science. And he gets the Eiffel Tower and builds 1 stage. And here he is, the man of the hour. Napoleon is up there. So let's see what are our options for our turn. So let's keep politics for a sec. And I think there's three options, 3 easy options. The first one is to get organized religion, finish my happiness problems, finish my get reserves, finish the wonder. So I'm generating some points finally, thankfully. And with the 2 remaining actions, I could start working on the irrigation, or I could pick up one of these. I could pick up Napoleon. Yeah, this turn has to include picking up Napoleon. Right now, I think it's the best leader that I can get from H2, so that would be the end of my turn. So that's one option. Another similar option is to go for irrigation and again pick up Napoleon, and for my last action I could get I could finish the wonder. Yes. So the first option was points and Napoleon, putting me at 4, fixing my happiness. The second option is irrigation with some economy, so in 2 turns I'll be able to get another population. Both of these end with Napoleon. And then there's the military option. And for the military option, I can get cannon. I can switch one of these into a cannon and adopt a tactic as before, get Napoleon. And then I have 3 actions left, which I think it could be quite nice to use these to can I fix my happiness? I could actually. So before getting Napoleon here, so I can fix my happiness if I so choose. That's one option. And the other option on this is to finish my wonder and pick up 2 cards. And these cards could be, so an efficient upgrade is one option, and that's in preparation for selective breeding. I could get the frugality, though I don't really see how this is helping me with no food production, so maybe use the reserves to get some food for next turn. Or, oh, instead of going for happiness, I could go for irrigation. So let's do this, and I can upgrade this and finish the wonder. So here's my thought. So there's several different routes I could take, and they can branch in various ways. I think that my main goals for this turn are to finish the wonder, get the army going, and prepare for selective breeding with rich land. I think that it is way too late for irrigation. I'm pretty deep into my bank. I don't want to spend the science and the actions on this right now. So going back to the beginning, we're gonna get the cannon. We're gonna build it, and we are going to finish the wonder, get Napoleon going, and pick up rich land in preparation for selective breeding. So if that is what I do, oh, and of course the tactic. Question is, what do I do with my political action? And one easy option is to play an event. I have no idea what's going on with the deck. So far nothing bad happened. And I could play an event. I could seed refugees, for example. With Napoleon, I expect to have the military lead for quite a while, and I could just civil unrest. So this is nice. It's 2 points, and it's a threatening event. Or I could declare war over technology over one of the other players. So looking at AlienJake, he has 4 science. He can't really use it for anything. So he could get a drama. So at the end of his turn, he's gonna have either 4 or 7 science. And with Napoleon, I'm gonna have 21 military. I think that the most he could get right now is honestly not much more than the 10 he has at the moment, right? He could build 2 units, 2 knights to get to 14, and if there's scientific collaboration in the deck, then he could get riflemen. I guess the worst case scenario is scientific collaboration into riflemen, which gives him another 8, so he's going to be at 18, so I can steal 3 science. For Claudius, unfortunately AlienJake has set up a classic army, so Claudius could actually dismantle one of these, build a knight, and get classical army, and that's going to be another 5 military, so he's going to be at 16, and he wants to do it anyway because he wants to switch to Robespierre. Could he go above 16? Unlikely, unless there's an event here that gives him ore, and then he's going to have 7 ore. So he could get a cavalryman instead of a knight. He would not be able to upgrade a knight into a cavalryman, right? Oh, he would. So worst case scenario is that he gets 3 more ore, he's at 7, he gets the cavalryman, and he builds a cavalryman and a knight. And in that case, he's gonna get 3 from this, 2 more from the knight upgrade. So 1 more from the knight upgrade, so that's going to be 4, and then another 3, so that's going to be 7. Did I get it right? Plus 3, plus 4 plus 3, 7, and it's gonna be at 18. And also it's gonna force him to spend some resources instead of working on the Eiffel Tower, which is honestly quite alarming. So let's try that. Let's declare war of technology on Claudius, and let's get the cannons, build the cannons, don't forget the tactic, whoops, get Napoleon, get the cannons, get the tactic. So I'm at 21, finish the wonder, and get Richland. And finally, let's hope I did not mess any of the math around the everyone's military. Okay, so we're ending the turn. Not drawing any cards. Classical army shows up, and more yellows show up. This is wonderful because I think Jake is going for Shakespeare, and the later Shakespeare appeared, the less points he's gonna get. And we already lost one call. This is the second call. I'm a bit disappointed that there's no selective breeding, but honestly, a big pile of cards is also fine. I could burn some of these and get the cards. Okay, this looks good. Jake gets Bach and elects him. Interesting. So he doesn't wait for Shakespeare, and then researches drama, builds a drama, and gets revolutionary idea. Got it. So this Bach is probably going to be worth 2 science and somewhere between 3 and 6 points, I guess, depending on when the next age 3-liter comes up. He could get another drama, although he could really use to work on some infrastructure beforehand, I think. I think it's too late for a point boost at this stage of the age. Claudius sees an event, and a foray comes up. So he's taking the food, and he's using it for cavalry and classic army, so he's at 16 military. Doesn't need Han anymore, switching to Robespierre. And he researches journalism and cannons and getting engineer and genius. I wonder why he hurried to research these two. Maybe he's afraid of a spy. Maybe he's afraid of follow up the war with a spy. Because he's getting science for me to steal now anyway. So I am 5 ahead, which means that the war is going to end with me stealing 5 science. And that's fantastic for several reasons. One, science is good, and I just got a whole turn of science from this war while Claudius lost one. It slowed down his Eiffel Tower, I think. He won't be able to finish it next turn unless economic progress shows up. And it made his foray become... Actually, he could have finished it with foray, so it caused him to get food from the foray instead of stones. And he's out of Han, so he's down to getting 2 points a turn, at least until the Eiffel Tower is done. So I'm pretty glad that I slowed him down. And the question is, what's next? I'm pretty sure I want to seed an event here. The only really bad outcome is rebellion. I think that anything else I'm pretty well equipped to deal with. And since the infrastructure of the other 2 players I think is a bit weaker, if anything bad happens, they're probably going to suffer more. So as long as it's not rebellion, I think I'm fine. Okay, strategic territory. So this will give me 3 H2 cards, which is pretty fantastic, given that I had to skip card draw last turn in order to build up my army and declare a war. So I think I should bid for this, and the question is how much. My tactic is just these 2 units, while both AlienJake and Claudius depend quite heavily on their tactics right now, so they can't sacrifice as much. So I don't think that Claudius is going to sacrifice anything. He doesn't have the food, and I think he needs his ore for the Eiffel Tower and maybe journalism. So, so I think we can safely assume that Claudius is not going to bid. The question is how much is AlienJake going to bid? He has quite a lot of cards, and he has the food and the ore to build back up. So he could potentially bid a warrior or a knight with an H2 defense card, of which I haven't seen any. So I think we can safely assume he's going to bid either 2 or 3, either 3 or 4. And the question is, how much am I willing to put into this? I think that the bare minimum is a swordsman and my defense card, because it wouldn't change my military at all. Putting 2 swordsmen, it's going to be a bit more painful, because at this point I am missing the 2 military from the swordsman and the 2 from Napoleon, and that pretty much means giving up on military pressure in the foreseeable future, which is a bit tricky. On the other hand, losing 2 units means that this yellow is now open. My happiness situation is slightly better, at least until next turn, when these yellows go away because of the end of the age. So I'm tempted to bid 5. I'm tempted to bid 5 and get these last 3 H2 cards. Getting Napoleonic army would be pretty fantastic, and getting any of these aggressions could be pretty good. Are there any event cards I'm gunning for? Not really. Ravages of Time? Ravages of Time could hurt AlienJake quite a bit, although he's going for drama. I don't think I want the Napoleon bonus to drop. I think that it makes sense to stay on this. It keeps threatening Claudius and AlienJake. They don't really. Claudius is going to have trouble getting more military than this unless he. Yeah, I don't see him getting a cannon next turn. And AlienJake could rebuild, but it's going to require resources and actions that I think he would prefer to spend on scientific method. Yeah, just using 2 ore for a warrior, and he cannot get a scientific method next turn, right? It's going to cost 5. It's going to be at 4. Yeah, so I think I can safely bid just 3, and hopefully that should be enough. I think 3 is worth it. So let's put the bid on 3. And now we wait. Okay, that was easy. So I think that spending 1 swordsman for this territory is totally worth it. Unfortunately, we did not get Napoleonic army. We did get economic progress, international trade agreement, and defensive army, all of which are interesting, plus the colony and the 2 strength. So I need to choose how to use this this foray. And the thing I'm concerned about right now, I think the one missing piece in the puzzle is food. And I just picked 3 for the purpose of thinking about my turn. One thing I could do is finally get this irrigation going and upgrade it using rich land and just upgrade it. This puts me at 2 food per turn. So by the end of the game, let's see how this corruption is going to work. Yeah, so next turn I'm going here. So I think this is going to give me 3 more populations by the end of the turn, by the end of the game. Am I getting it right? Because these 2 are going away, corruption is 2. So next turn I'm going to get 1, I'm going to be at 1. There's going to be 6 turns after that. So, so 12 more. So that's one way to do it. It requires 3 actions to get there. and I can probably use the 4A um, just for 2 food, not 3 food. So that's one thing I can do. Another option, and requires 3 actions. Another option, we said we can just use 2, is to get this selective breeding and do the same thing here. And again, this puts me at 2 food. It gives me the option of doing this either now or later. And if I'm getting the math right, this should get me. God, these food calculations are so hard. I think this should get me, so it's going to get me these two, it's going to get me 4 times 6, 24. So these are going to leave me at 16, and then this is going to hit. So it's going to give me 4 more, assuming I upgrade it all the way. Or I can just do this. Although, if I just do this, I might as well stick to the irrigation I have in hand. So it comes up to how many resources I want by the end of the game. Another thing that comes into play is that how many food I want by the end of the game. Another thing that comes into play is that there's strategy here, and if I want to keep pushing on military, I might want to take it just so that nobody else does. And I could also wait for the next selective breeding, although I'm not sure that's the way I want to go, and I need to use this card somehow. So yeah, I could use this for organized religion. It's some points, it's nice, but I still have all these actions I need to use. And I really think that getting some kind of food this turn makes sense. And finally, there's these series of yellows that I might want to pick up. So I definitely want to pick up Breakthrough. It's just such a good card that I think it makes sense to get it. And then if I upgrade 1 irrigation, I will not use Rich Land. And I have 3 actions left for the strategy. But that means no selective breeding, at least not for now. This is a really rough choice. Food math is generally something I'm weak on. Honestly, my gut feeling says goes for the selective breeding. That's what I was thinking of doing initially. And it puts us here, and we can pick up Breakthrough and either reserves or urban growth. So let's say I get urban growth. Next turn, I can get another population and use it for whatever. And this one organized religion solves my my happiness problems for the end of the game, I think. Yeah, with 1, 2, 3, and I get these, maybe 1 more. So if I do that, 2, 4, 5, then strategy is going to be position 6. It's possible that Jake is going to take it. If Claudius takes it, then he's going to need at least 2 turns to get there. So maybe giving them strategy is not such a huge deal. They don't have that much science. One of these could be scientific breakthrough. I haven't seen it. So it's an option. And it does leave me with the room to upgrade once again next turn, which could be pretty strong. So do I take urban growth or reserves? I'm pretty sure I'm taking urban growth. Age 3 is starting. I'm gonna use this for this opera, or if a movies or computers shows up. So I think that getting the urban growth makes sense. I'm not super happy about giving up on the strategy right now, but I think that's the way to go. My irrigation is gonna fall off. I'm in a good space to get another one of these next turn, if nothing interesting comes up here. It's slightly more expensive on the science, but honestly not by much, just by 2. And I think the actions are going to be worth it. So yeah, again, food, one of my weakest parts, but hopefully it works out. What else is coming? There's 4 cards left, and they're transcontinental, another selective breeding, James Cook, and scientific method. So nothing really interesting. I might want to go into transcontinental. Next turn I'm going to have 13 ore, and the 4 military could be nice. The tricky part is going to be the actions cost, because finishing it is going to be 4 actions. It's going to make my next wonder cost 1 more, so there's 5 actions. Then picking it up. So it really depends on what else shows up. What shows up from age 3, to be honest. Getting the 2 more resources per turn is going to be nice. Getting the 4 military is going to be nice, but I don't think either one of these is going to be critical. So let's do that. I can keep all these cards. I'm going to draw 3 more. Another war. Interesting. So I lose irrigation. Claudius uses masonry and reach age. And the first age 3 card is engineering. So nothing super interesting right now. I might go for a war on AlienJake. If he doesn't get more defenses up, then I might just declare war on technology over him. And it's possible I could get another war on Claudius. So next turn, I need to trip up my happiness, but I can I get 2 more units? I have the urban growth, so religion is going to cost me 4, which puts me at 9. Yeah, I'm missing 1 ore, but I could reserve for it. So next turn I might be able to get another tactic. We'll see. Jake develops his riflemen, upgrades them, so now he's at 18 strength, putting Claudius as last. He gets coal, which seems pretty risky. I don't see him. He could research it next turn, but he doesn't have any yellows to actually upgrade. Oh, he gets the reserves as well. So next turn he's going to be at 6. So, oh, and he gets the strategy, which is, again, I don't think he has the science for all of this. He only has 1 revolutionary idea. He can use it either for coal or scientific method, and I think it's pretty late for them. Oof, Reign of Terror. So Claudius is going to lose 1 population, and he lost a mine. He's gonna disband the swordsman. Wow, putting him at 6 military. So he's taking a gamble that I don't have any aggressions, which I don't. Getting a rifleman and selective breeding and opera. So the timing on this is perfect because there have been no yellows for them to take. I wonder whether they should have taken these reserves instead of 2 of these cards. So it's my turn, and sadly, I don't have any aggressions. I do have a war on technology that I could play against Claudius right now. And he could shuffle his units back here. So spend the resources, shuffle the units back here, and he's gonna go back to 16 and still lose the science. So, and he can't really do much more than that. So one option is to get more science from Claudius and pretty much bury him. I think it's going to be extremely difficult for him to recover with 0 science. He might research the rifleman, probably spend the lab because he's not getting the science anyway. And oh, he can't get the rifleman, so he'll just research something so he's low on, because he's going to lose the science anyway. So that could work. I could seed an event, and I know I have refugees there that right now should give me some points. And there's also this age 1 card which was seeded by Claudius. And we just saw that the other age 1 card he seeded was a strength-based event. What is actually left from the 1 deck? There's a few cards there. There's a few cards. So yeah, I don't think War of Technology is the way to go right now. He can't really act on these science anyway. He doesn't have the ore. And yeah, I think that right now building on my strength is a better idea. I'm ahead on both food and ore, so let's play economic progress and see what happens. Okay, border conflict. So I get the ore, and he's going to have to destroy another building. So what do I do? One option is to go for gates here and basically forfeit my military advantage in order to get gates. I guess in this case I will get the trailing scientific method maybe. And let's get the organized religion as well. And let's build this. Oh, and I'm out of, so I can't do both. Yeah, I think taking advantage of gates right now is going to require some significant trickery. I could disband this unit because I'm not getting the bonus from Napoleon anymore, and then research organized religion and get this, and I guess straight up build a, um, a scientific method. So that gives me a lot of production, and Gates is going to be worth at least 6 points at the end of the game, probably more. Um, this is pretty nice, except that right now it's just going to be stones for stone's sake. I think I can do better than that. If I already had the scientific method going, then Gates would have been a prime choice, but doesn't really seem like it right now. So I will want to get the organized religion and build it. I think that's pretty much a given. There's too much unhappiness going here. I could disband stuff, but seems unnecessary. I could spend these 2 actions. But then what do I pick up? So ideally, I want reserves, I want multimedia, and I want engineering. So we already decided I don't want scientific method, I don't want Bill Gates, I don't want transcontinental railroad. It's too late for that. I won't even pay back for the 12 stones to build it. So engineering is going to help with 3 different impacts. So progress, technology, and variety all benefit from engineering. Plus, I imagine that it's going to be worth at least 2 actions, maybe more, and some stone. So I think getting this for 1 is pretty much the way to go. Question is, what do I do with the remaining 3 actions? And I still need to get out of corruption, and I still need to take one of these. Since they're starving for stones, I really want to take these reserves. And the risk then becomes that I won't get this multimedia, and movies won't show up, because right now the way I get points is pretty much movies, multimedia, or computers with Sid Meier. Honestly, that seems like decent options. So if I take these 2, 4, 5, so this is going to be at position 4, so this is definitely falling off. Is multimedia going to fall off? So I don't think AlienJake is going to take these 2 on his turn. So if these fall off on his turn and these 2 fall off on Claudius' turn, I could still get this multimedia, unless one of them picks it up, which seems highly unlikely. Maybe AlienJake takes it, but he doesn't have the science. He does have the science. No, he doesn't have the science, and he doesn't have the iron to get there. So I think it's not that risky a gamble to do that. And I still keep Napoleon. I'm still ahead of strength. I need to do something about food. I can do this. So that's something I could do. It seems decent. I'm still not super happy about it because I don't need these stones myself. I'm wondering whether I'm hating too much and I should just pick up the multimedia. Can I go into multimedia this turn? So if I get these and get this and build this with whatever, and then this band. So I could get into multimedia this turn if I so choose. It does mean that my military goes down to 17, so I'm below AlienJake, which could be a shame with these refugees. It's 3 points that I could use right now. And looking at the other events. And also I'm not getting the engineering, and I'm not blocking them for any of these. Yeah, that doesn't seem like the way to go. So I have to admit that the happiness deficit is catching up with me in a painful way. So yeah, so I really want the engineering. I think it's a strong move right now. And I could get the revolutionary idea and go for democracy next turn. And then increase population. I don't think any of them. Oh, Claudius is gonna take the democracy. Yes, he pretty much has to right now. Okay, scratch that. Let's scratch that. Okay, let's do this. We're gonna have to increase. Take the engineering. They're weak on both science and stones, so I could block them for the revolutionary idea as well. And there's only 2 revolutionary ideas. But for stones, there's 3 reserves, 2 urban growths, 2 efficient upgrades, and engineering genius. So let's take the revolutionary idea. Yeah, I don't think Jake is going to take this multimedia for, sorry, for 2 actions. If anything, he takes this one for 1, and if he takes this one for 1, yeah, he might take the reserves, and I might lose it. So yeah, I'm just going to take a gamble here and hope that if he does take these things, then something else shows up. So let's end the turn. I'm going to discard. I really don't see this war happening, but it's the only aggressive card I have. Oh yeah, the independence declaration is not going to happen. I'm the only one with colonies. Okay, so here's the impact of progress that I wanted the engineering for, so it's a good call. Impact of competition, pretty equal right now. No Air Force, no points generation either, unfortunately, and a war on culture. So this might tilt me back into the military path. We'll see whether Claudius tries to recover his strength or not, and whether we can get another set here next turn. So we might do that. National Pride gives Claudius another 5 points, and then AlienJake goes for a lab and takes Bill Gates. That's nice. That solves 2 problems for him: science and ore. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I still think it might be a bit too late, but I guess it's better than nothing. For Claudius, he reveals Crime Wave. Nice. So I just got 3 points. He gets Democracy, which he can revolt into next turn, finishes the Eiffel Tower, and adopts back to Conquistadors. So he gets some more military. So my turn, and I think for a political event, the question is, do I want to declare war on culture? And if yes, on whom? I don't think AlienJake is a very good target right now. He's not that much of a lead on me, and he has more of an infrastructure. Claudius, on the other hand, he has a 42-point lead, which is pretty substantial, and he doesn't have any infrastructure. Claudius needs the game to end now, but unfortunately for him, there's another 3 or 4 turns for Jake and me to catch up. So I'm pretty sure that I want to declare war on him. Declaring war means going down to 0 military actions, so I won't draw any more H3 cards. I do have 2 good impacts. I have Impact of Progress, and I have Engineering. For that, I'll get Democracy, and probably either 1 or 2 additional blue technologies, and I have Impact of Competition, which should be able to give me 3 points for the impact, plus, let's say I build 1 more cavalry, 1 more cannon, that's 9 more points. So that's decent. Not amazing, but still it's pretty decent. So I could take another turn without drawing. The downside of declaring a war is that I will only get my refugees later. So I'll probably have to sacrifice some population from here. I guess the farm, which is not terrible because there is economic progress coming soon. So let's skip politics and see how a war might look like. I'll probably break down the farm and just build these two, and that puts me at 32 versus 11. So a 21 point difference, which is it's pretty nice. It's not bad at all. Can I get another one? Can I get a third set? No, there isn't enough military actions. I need 3 for the war. So a 21 point differential means that I go up to 36 and Claudius goes down to 36. So that's a really strong balancing act. And there really isn't much he can do. I mean, he can research the rifleman and not upgrade. Um, Even if AlienJake plays an event and he plays an event and economic progress shows up, he's at 4, so he can upgrade. Um, he can get another swordsman and go back into classical army, I guess, and that's gonna give him another 2 plus 3, 5, 16. And that's really two very big ifs. So that's something I could do. What else would I do with my turn? So what I would really want to do is get democracy and then research it. Getting democracy now, a nice bonus to points and somewhere between 9 and 12 points from the technology itself, plus impact of progress. The problem is that if I do that, then um, then I can't get multimedia next turn. I can't get movies. So what do I do with the rest of the age? I don't have the military cards to keep pushing on military, so how do I get the points? Which is a bit tricky. So what I actually thought of doing, and that is a bit crazy, is to get Einstein. And if I elect Einstein right now, then that puts me at 9 science, and I can get the multimedia and research and build it next turn. And I'm going to have the meeple from refugees to do that. The downside to this is that I lose Napoleon, so that's 6 military, making the difference between me and Claudius much smaller. And that means that assuming he builds another warrior or stays like this, let's say 50 points, I go up to 30, he goes down to 42. So it's less of a balancing act. With that said, it is still 15 points. Best case scenario for him, economic progress shows up, he's at 18, it's still 8 points, so it's a small armed intervention. What if I don't go for military for for the war? What if I just go straight into multimedia? And if I do that, then I can just put this person here and get 3 additional points. And I guess if I do that, I switch to Albert Einstein. And that gives me a nice bucket of science. I can get democracy next turn pretty easily, except I don't have the actions to pick it up. So I will need to pick up democracy and Einstein. I will need to pick up Einstein and democracy, and then I'm out of space. Okay, and out of actions. So it's not really viable right now to get both Einstein, democracy, and multimedia, and a multimedia. I will need to pick one. I could gamble that the democracy gets all the way. No, it can't happen. It just can't happen. I could go for another government, but right now, communism and fundamentalism, not amazing. I could just get Einstein and get democracy right now, and get multimedia next turn. I still have the science for that. Um, but if I do that, I don't really have anything to do with the people I get from refugees and these people, and I have corruption. So why not go for the war anyway? Another consideration for going for the war is that um, Claudius might get Gandhi. So if I want to go for a war, now is the time. So let's do that. I think that this is solid enough. Let's declare the war on Claudius. Let's get Einstein, and let's get democracy. By the way, even though I lose Napoleon, the fact that I I got Einstein and I got 3 points on democracy helps. And then question is, do I want to use wave of nationalism? If I do, it's only 3 stones. Do I really need? And I want to take multimedia. So where do I get the meeple? I guess I get it from here, which makes me even weaker. And then and I don't have the military action. Yeah, so I don't use wave of nationalism right now. So I blow up the farm. I get these up. I pick up multimedia. Um, am I happy with this? I think it's gonna give me a decent chunk of points. I have the impacts I need. So impact of competition is 9 points. Might be even more if I get air forces. I have the science for multimedia next turn. Impact of progress, already 6 points, going to be either 9 or 12. Once I get the multimedia next turn, I'll be at 0 science, but my science production is going to be 4, 7, 10. So by the end of the game, assuming there's going to be between 2 and 3 turns afterwards, I'll get between 20 and 30 science. That's enough for engineering, plus 1 or 2 additional technologies. I really hope to get spaceflight. I think I'm pretty sure I'm best positioned to use it based on the science math. And AlienJake is gonna have to pay 3 actions for it. He might. He does have Bill Gates. Claudius is gonna have to pay 3 actions for it, but he doesn't have the ore, so we might just steal it so I don't get it. So yeah, getting spaceflight right now is just not practical. I don't have the 5 actions, but let's hope it shows up. And if not, then there's always fast food chains, which is a solid plan B, and maybe internet, depending on how many multimedia I get. So yeah, and internet works with Einstein, so maybe internet. Okay, so we declared the war, and whoops, we declared the war. We took Einstein, we declared the war, took Einstein, got democracy, picked up the multimedia. So we have a nice balance of military and follow-up, and I think we're pretty much set. What do we want to discard here? Yeah, I don't see myself going into this. I doubt I'm going to announce a trade agreement right now, and I doubt I'm going to have another war. Do I see any colonies coming? So there's 2 cards here, one from Jake, one from Claudius. I think there might be, and just the chance of a historic territory, I think for me means I can give up on civil unrest. So I'm keeping the 2 impacts and the defense card. Okay, so here's Gandhi. I'm almost positive that Claudius is going to pick him up, and he's going to have to pay 3 or 4 actions for him. It's going to give him some more points, and it's going to make him immune to aggressions, to wars from me or from AlienJake, and potentially aggressions as well. So I'm pretty sure that's going to happen. He's going to revolt to democracy and pick up Gandhi. AlienJake might pick up computers. He can't research them right now, so we'll see. And I hope to get my space flight. I think it's pretty safe. I'm doubtful that AlienJake is gonna get both movies and efficient upgrades, though he might. He might. And then, worst case, I can go for fast food chains. Jake sees an event and refugees shows up, so that's nice. A population and 3 points. And gets a theater, picks up efficient upgrade, Hollywood, open growth. Okay, so spaceflight slides down, which means that I'm definitely not getting it. Claudius goes for the scientific cooperation again, and I'm surprised Jake refused. I think that at this point, this could have given him a nice edge. So here's the revolution into democracy. He gets spaceflight. So there's. I don't see him finishing it, but Sure. So he gets Gandhi and elects him. Yes, that was to be expected. No more wars, so it's a good thing I made the switch. Engineering genius and efficient upgrade. Interesting. So at this point, oh, of course, the war resolves. I get 20 points. The great equalizer. So I think I'm pretty much ahead right now. So is now I'm pretty sure that right now the game is for me to lose. So let's focus on not losing it. And usually at this point I would skip politics and just cycle some cards around to see what's going on. But I'm pretty sure I'm going to play an impact. And I think it's going to be an impact of progress. Um, yeah, I think impact of progress is the way to go right now. I think that I'm going to get at least 2 blue technologies. So, and I don't see Jake getting another government. He might get, actually, he might get one of them. There's, yeah, there's going to be 3 more turns. This one, then next one, the deck is gonna finish, and then the last one. So Jake is gonna get at least 10 more science, maybe a bit more. So it's possible that that he will get it. Both of them have wonders, so I don't have to worry about fast food chain. So let's see the impact of progress and see what we get. Cold War, perfect. So I got some science, I got my population, and I'm definitely getting this set up. So 10 science per turn, very nice. And internet currently giving me 14 points. I think I'm going to build 1 more multimedia, so internet is going to be 20 points. Fast food chains currently give 17 points. I don't think I have 1 more person in me, more than 1 more person. Maybe 2, no, probably just 1 reserves and another one. So I think internet is the way to go. And then the question is, what do we do with the remaining 2 actions? So revolutionary idea is one option. More science is always good, and if I take it, then AlienJake doesn't. And civil service, that's the other option. What is Jake going to do with all of his science? Yeah, he might just grab civil service, and I want that for my my impact of progress. There is a small chance I get one of these 2 as well. That would be amazing. So right now, yeah, that seems like the way to go. 1 action left. Shall we take fundamentalism just so that AlienJake doesn't have it? Doesn't really seem like it the way to go. Also, I don't think he wants to lose science. So, does computers help us in any way? Computers work really nicely with internet. So getting computers next turn and upgrading it is gonna give us, yeah, it's just gonna give us 3 more science. So 3 more points in internet, while getting a multimedia. So actually, each computer is 5, so I can get 2 computers for 6. It's gonna be 10 stones and 2 actions, or I can just get the multimedia for 6 as well. It's 1 more stone, 1 less action. Sorry, not 1 less action, because I need to increase population. But the multimedia itself gives points, and I don't think I need just the science. So let's aim for multimedia. Let's take these reserves, and that seems like a decent turn to advance. A decent way to advance the turn. Cool. So yeah, let's end the turn. Get some more cards. So the impact of agriculture is really not going to help us here. Here's the military theory. Is AlienJake gonna take it? Maybe. If not, then I'm definitely pouncing on it. Are there any revolutionary ideas left? No, that's the last one. Um, yeah, so I think that the remainder of the game is going to be getting another multimedia and finishing the internet. So it's going to be, it's not going to be 11, it's going to be 8. So 8 plus 14, that's 22. I wonder if they're going to finish the deck. No, they can't. So I have at least 21, plus this might go into food. Yeah, this is going to go into food. 21 plus 4, 25. And there's this reserves and one more urban growth. So we have some flexibility with what we're going to do. This impact of agriculture, yeah, definitely not going into the deck right now unless we get a surprise mechanized, which might happen actually. It might be a good use for our leftover stones. We'll see. Jake declared an ardent invention on Claudius, which to me is pretty encouraging. First of all, Claudius defended, which means that Jake is not getting anything out of it. Furthermore, this required all of Jake's military actions, and to me, the fact that he played this means that he didn't have a better impact to play. Now he's not going to draw any, and on his next turn there's not going to be any in the deck. It's going to be H4. So it's quite possible that the only moves he have left are maybe more interventions against Claudius. So he upgrades coal, which is surprising at this point. I think that getting more scientific method is going to be more productive. He's upgrading, but he could have just built a scientific method, I think. He's getting the strategy, and he's getting computers, which could be nice with Bill Gates getting him some more points. Then for Claudius's turn, he doesn't see anything. He gets reserves, builds an AJ lab, and upgrades it to an alchemy, and gets the urban growth. So he has a nice set of cards here, but he's definitely not getting the wonder. So we'll see how he maneuvers this hand, especially when 3 of these are going to go away. So my turn, I think it's pretty straightforward. This impact of competition is going to give me 9 points. I'm highly unlikely I'm getting the impact of agriculture, but let's start with the impact of competition. Pretty straightforward. Politics of strength. So I'm drawing 5 military cards, and Claudius does not draw military cards. Doesn't matter. He's not going to have any anyway. Honestly, I wish this would have happened in H4. I had impact of variety, and my weakest link is both production and is farm. So if I can increase my farm, impact of variety is going to be worth more. Likewise, impact of agriculture. I can only seed one more of them, and this is going to be the last possible impact for gaining anything. So I will need to think whether I want to prioritize this mechanized agriculture. So I am going to have 26 science this game, and to me this is exactly 26. So let's go for that. We're going to get engineering. Let's see if we have enough actions to get the most out of this. I cannot upgrade the farm, unfortunately. I am missing one action on that. But oh, and I need to remember that I have internet that I want to finish. Okay, let's take a step back. Does anyone have more points than me? No. So endowment is pretty meaningless right now. This means I need to have. I'm going to finish this game with 15 stones. I need 8 plus 4. I need 22. So 15, 18, 22. Yeah. So this is what we're doing. This is what we're doing this game. What are we going to dismantle? If I dismantle the mine, then that's not enough, right? We just did the math. That's 12. Yes. So we cannot dismantle the mine. I think we can safely get rid of this guy. Yes, you're gone. I'm sorry, you are the weakest link. Let's get this multimedia. So next turn I'm gonna have 14. I'm gonna have 20 science, which is one short for theory, but I can get satellites. And let's get the military theory that no one else gets it. So next turn I'm gonna have 14 stones. It's exactly enough for a 20-point internet, and we're gonna get civil service and satellites. I keep forgetting the economic progress. Economic progress is gonna give me another 6, assuming any of them seed anything. So it's gonna give me another 6, and this is 2. So I could squeeze in a mechanized agriculture, which means that variety is gonna be another 4 points. It's gonna be 16, and impact of agriculture is gonna be um, another 6 points as well. So it's gonna be 9 versus 8, or 16 versus 14, plus 3 for the impact itself. Okay, so maybe I do want mechanized agriculture. But then I can't take satellites, and which means that I'm getting less points for. Yeah, honestly, I can do the math, but I'm doubtful It matters. So I'm just gonna let it go and finish the turn, and we're gonna get 6 stones. We can dump them into something. Um, we can dump them into um, an alchemy and get 2 more points off internet, or we'll see. We'll find a use for them next turn. So discarding, I'm not gonna attack anyone. Oh gosh, no. Maybe I do want to attack someone next turn. Because can I get 2 mechanized agriculture? If I steal, no, it's not gonna have anything. Yeah, yes. So we're not gonna take anyone next turn. We're not gonna declare a war. This is going away anyway. Um, if we play one of these, then it's gonna be impact variety. And yes, we don't need this. I guess that makes sense. Sure. Would you look at that? So Jake did have an impact, and he just did it. So economic progress triggers. Unfortunately, I have corruption. So he gains some food, builds a pop, gets the last theater, solving his happiness issues, and then getting mechanized agriculture and endowment for the arts. So this pretty much means I should not. I might need to rethink the idea of putting an impact in the deck. Claudius sees an event as well, input of government, which gives me 1 point on AlienJake, 2 points on Claudius, and he gains some food, increased population. Finally gets library. He researched that quite a while ago. Oh, he disbands knights, gets military build up, and looking for professional sports, which he will not be able to build. And also next turn he's gonna be negative on food. So let's see what happens there. So I have impact of progress, impact of competition. I'm pretty happy with both of these. I should probably see this impact of strength. Yeah, I don't see AlienJake getting more than 27 strength, right? He will need to dismantle quite a bit of infrastructure to get there. He has the stones, but he will need to dismantle a lot of infrastructure. Um, so let's go for this impact of strength. This opens up impact of happiness. Ooh, that's gonna cost me some points, sadly. I completely neglected this issue here with my happiness. So let's quickly fix that, and sadly that's the only way, because I need the rest of the stones for this wonder. Um, I can get two of these. We've already seen impact of government, so I can safely get military theory to guarantee the strength and satellites. And let's finish the wonder for some points. Grab some two cards, and that is it. Let's see how the game ends. Oh, and I got an achievement. How nice. Unfortunately, I neglected to record the last turn. So briefly, AlienJake played another aggression on Claudius74 and won, getting 7 points. He then got a mechanized agriculture and I think a temple. And then Claudius, for his turn, just upgraded a temple to a theocracy and disbanded a mine. I'm not really sure why. And as you can see, he has a famine, so famine, so we lost 1 point. Looking at impacts, this impact of architecture, not really sure who put it in, seemed to benefit us about the same. Impact of progress, this man's mine, and it was quite significant, netting me 24 points thanks to the 3 blue technologies and the government I got in H3. Next one is impact of balance, which I'm pretty sure Jake seeded. That might explain why he went for mechanized agriculture on the last turn. Impact of competition, which I seeded for a minor point benefit, and impact of strength, which I seeded on the last turn. So overall, I seem to have won by a bit shy of 43 points. Yeah, so by 43 points. So a few notes about the game. Pretty straightforward game. Nothing crazy happened like a crazy iconoclasm, killing Napoleon, or any any super early points rushes. Pretty stable infrastructure game. We got H2 at around turn 6, we got H3 at turn 11, and H4 at turn 15. I pretty much focused on infrastructure for the entire game. This is pretty much my game style. I'm an infrastructure player. I'm much less experienced with going for early points or early military. I've been very conservative with early game events, which I think paid off since I was behind in military most of the game. I would say that Jake pushed most of the early game events, and then Claudius seeded some more. I'm pretty happy with my timing. Monarchy into democracy, pretty standard. I started pretty low on military early in the game, and I was actually lucky. Jake was aggressive with events, and fortunately, very few of them were strength-based events, so I wasn't really punished that much for the low strength early on. I think that that one of the major turning points were declaring a war of technology on Claudius, and he was about to start the Eiffel Tower, and I declared that war, and I have to say that he really disintegrated after that. Plus, it gave me a nice points boost for some of my technology. I think that the second turning point was ditching Napoleon for Einstein, especially as there was a war going on. So I think it was mostly a move about flexibility, and I could have chosen to wait for another better leader from H3, but just getting Einstein made sense. Did I need that war in culture? Not really. Even without the war of culture, I would be 20 points behind. Claudius would be 20 points ahead. Doesn't really matter. Likewise, did AlienJake benefit from his aggression? Not much. This shows the power of Gandhi. AlienJake spent 2 political actions and 8 military actions just to land 1 armed intervention. So, didn't really matter that much. Of course, always easy to say in hindsight. I did do, I'm sure I've done many mistakes, a few notable ones. Even going to the beginning, I'm not sure that, whoops, sorry about that. I'm not sure that getting pyramids over Hammurabi was the best idea. I ended up with Homer. I couldn't use any of his stones. I only used his stone once, and it did put some pressure around my pyramids timing. I missed on a on one of on the on wave of nationalism, So I had a window when I declared the war of technology on Claudius where I can have used it between disbanding one unit and getting the other, and I got stuck with it until the end of the game and didn't really do anything with it. That ore could have been critical later on, so who knows how many points that cost me. And I was fumbling on the food calculation around the mid game, so I think I mentioned that food is one thing where I'm pretty weak on. I ended up skipping irrigation and then getting. I took irrigation. I didn't research it. I got selective breeding. Then I trashed in agriculture, and I'm sure that this could have gone much better comparing to AlienJake, who got three people out of here, and Claudius, who was about the same despite being hit by quite a few. Not about the same. He had two less. But yeah, comparing to Jake, I could have done better. Looking at the opponents, Jake's opening was pretty confusing. I'm pretty sure he wasted a few turns there. I think that he overinvested in Hanging Guardians. As far as I know, Hanging Guardians is considered to be a mediocre wonder. I think many people would prefer to skip it unless they have a really good plan on what to do with it. And he had a great late game transition into Bill Gates and Scientific Method. And I was considering a similar transition, but I decided that I'm a bit too late for it. And I'm wondering if this was the case here. I'm wondering whether just getting more coal or something and another leader might have been more helpful, but who knows. For Claudius, he had a really strong opening. He got a lot of points from Genghis Khan, and I was a bit confused by his H2 leader timing. He got a pretty late Robespierre going that he could not use until H3, and I think that going for the Eiffel Tower was way too greedy. It's always difficult to know with Eiffel Tower. It's such a powerful wonder. It can net you a lot of points, but it is quite a commitment. And as I mentioned, he took that. I declared the war, and he sort of disintegrated after that, dismantling way too much infrastructure for defense and building the Eiffel Tower instead of rebuilding it. So overall, a good game. I think the most notable thing is the timing and the pivots between infrastructure to Napoleon, between Napoleon to Albert Einstein. And thank you for listening. Thank you for my opponents, and I'll see you again soon.